Some places don't want you to stay. Others, they don't want you to leave. Welcome to Vault 313. The girl in room 7 never checked out. Most travelers pass through small towns without thinking twice, lulled by the gentle hum of tires on winding roads and the familiar monotony of rural scenery. But under the surface, these towns can carry secrets, their stories woven through generations and clinging like mist to the faded walls of places time forgot. My journey began like any other, a routine business trip, a quick overnight in a town so small you could walk from end to end in 5 minutes. Population barely 900. A gas station, a handful of shops, and as dusk fell, one lonely inn at the edge of town. All other hotels were full that night. Some local festival or maybe just passing hikers, crowding what scant accommodations the town could muster. But the old mountain inn still had one single neon promise in the window. Vacancy, flickering in the deepening dusk. The building itself was a relic. 3 stories of weathered stone and cracked wood, sagging under the weight of a century of winters. Its windows blinked at me like tired eyes. Inside, the lobby smelled faintly of lavender and dust, and behind the desk sat a woman with silvery hair, pulled into a bun so tight it seemed to hold her upright. Her eyes didn't quite meet mine when I checked in, but her hands were steady as she slid an old brass key across the counter. Room 5, 2nd floor. The key was heavy and cool against my palm, the kind of key that could have opened a lock 100 years ago. My footsteps echoed on the stairwell, paint peeling from the walls, spindly banister smooth from decades of anxious hands. At the end of the dim corridor was my room, but it wasn't room 5 that drew my attention that first night. It was the door directly across, room 7. Its brass numbers, dulled by time, looked as if they'd been untouched for years. I didn't sleep well. Business worries flitted through my mind, yes, but more than that, there was a soft, insistent humming, floating through the walls. Sometimes it faded, only to start again, just as I was about to drift off. It was the voice of a girl, delicate, haunting, almost a lullaby. I tried to tune it out, chalking it up to another guest chasing sleep like me. But eventually, curiosity overcame caution. Midnight crept by. I padded to my door, opening it just a sliver. The hallway was swallowed in darkness. No footsteps, no murmur of television. Just a faint stripe of gold under room 7's door. And that humming, clearer than before. Each note slow, sorrowful, almost pleading. Stiff-legged, I crossed the hall. I pressed my ear against the door. The humming stopped, replaced by a cold silence that pressed in from all sides. I hurried back to my bed, heart pounding louder than any lullaby. The next night, sleep came even harder. As the clock ticked closer to 2, the humming returned, this time softer, as if the girl was right outside my room, on the other side of the painted wood. I rose again, cracked the door just wide enough to peer across the hall. This time, room 7's door was ajar. A thin, watery line of light seeped through the gap, illuminating the number plate like a warning. Against my better judgment, against every story I'd ever read, I stepped forward. Maybe I meant to knock. Maybe I just wanted proof that I wasn't alone. As my hand reached for the handle, the door swung shut, sharp and clean, as if an unseen wind had slammed it. No one spoke. No hinges creaked. But in that yawning silence, my skin prickled with the nearness of something, someone, waiting just on the other side. That night, I finally fell asleep, exhaustion blurring my nerves. Until at 3:12 a.m., my eyes snapped open. I didn't know what had woken me at first. The room was bone cold, the air thick with the smell of damp earth. Then I saw her, a girl, no older than 11, standing at the foot of my bed. Her skin was impossibly pale, almost translucent, and her dark hair hung in sodden ropes, as if she'd just climbed from a lake. Her dress clung wetly to her thin frame, dripping silent tears onto the faded rug. She smiled at me, wide, uncanny, her lips near colorless. The room pressed closer, and I felt a chill, the kind that runs all the way to your heart. She leaned forward, hair dripping on the sheet, and whispered, her voice thin as mist, "You're in the wrong room." Instinct took over and I screamed, a ragged, guttural sound that chased away the shadows. I snapped on the lamp, half expecting to keep screaming, half expecting to see her still standing there. But the room was empty, quiet except for the thundering of my own heartbeat. I didn't bother gathering my things. I raced down the stairs, nightshirt flapping, the old inn echoing hollowly with each frantic step. The woman at the front desk was still there, knitting in the dying glow of a single lamp. When I stammered out my story, about the damp girl, about room 7, her face turned ashen. She reached beneath the desk and pulled out a faded photograph, black and white, a child standing awkwardly on the inn's grand staircase. Room 7's been locked for years. Her voice brittle as autumn leaves. A girl drowned in the bathtub, alone. No one knew for days. She's been waiting for someone to notice her, for someone to talk to. Her words settled over me like a winter shroud. I turned the photograph in trembling hands. The girl's eyes in the picture bore the same hollow ache as the apparition at my bedside. Lost, endlessly searching for comfort that would never come. I asked if I should leave, if the inn was safe. The old woman just nodded, her own eyes brimming with a weariness you could never measure in years alone. Back in my room, I huddled under the covers, lamps blazing until the break of day. I could not sleep, could only listen, heart stuttering in my chest, for the haunting flickers of a lullaby that never quite faded, never quite let me go. People say that every small town is haunted by history, by tragedy, by the memories we tuck away, pretending they'll never rise again. Room 7 was shuttered, its secrets sealed tight, but not tightly enough. In places like this, some rooms never truly stay empty. Someone or something is always waiting inside, hoping for company in the darkness. So next time you check in for the night, pay attention to the doors across the hall. Sometimes they're waiting for you too, and sometimes the vacancy sign is only the beginning. This was another file from Vault 313. Subscribe for more stories they tried to forget. And remember, some rooms never stay empty.